Hey, come on into the room. Come on into the room. Welcome to MO5000x7. I'm your host, Mo, doing the podcast live. Hit me on the Cash App if you want to donate to the channel. You can find me on Cash App at $Mo Nature, which is $MON, the letter HTR. That's $MON, the number 8TR, Mo Nature. By all means, donate to the channel. We can explore, move around, do interviews, get people in, all that good stuff. And with your donations, it helps speed that process up to be able to bring the content that you want and bring them into our safe space for the things that you want to talk about and things you want to hear. If you want to check out some good music, my daughter Clever just happens to be in the world, national, and international group Mother Nature. You can check out Mother Nature Bars with a Z. That's Mother Nature, BARZ.com. You can find them on all platforms, Instagram, whatever gram. You can find them on all things. Mother Nature Bars. They got lyrical skills, rhymes for days, good music to ride to, listen to, work out to, minister to, feed your soul to, teach, educate, all that good stuff. Talking on topics, smooth wordplay, everything that you want to hear, and then some. And they got legends and features, videos, and all kinds of formats for you to check out. The catalog is deep. The live performances are even better, and soon it'll be a tour that follows as we move further into 2025. So again, Mother Nature, check them out. Like I said, if you're coming into the channel, like and subscribe, hit that button. I want all the people to come in and be a part of what's going on here, man. There's some cool stuff on the channel, and that's how we give it to everyone. And right now, I want to say rest in peace to Angie Stone. We lost another legend. Not only is she an R&B legend, soul classic singer, just beautiful voice, but also on the rap tip in the smooth group called Sequence going back to 79 as a pioneer, 3 MC group. So it was Angie B, Blondie, and Cheryl the Pearl. We gonna funk you right on up. Bruno Mars and sampled it. Dr. Dre done sampled it. Everybody done sampled it. But the legendary person in that group was Angie B, who did a lot of the hooks, did a lot of the rhyme writing and behind the scenes things, and then went on to excel into a career of writing music for, you talk about Mary J. and just everybody, Uptown Records, people at Columbia, Universal Records. You can see her catalog is deep with the things that she's done. Phenomenal singer. So if you don't know her name is Angie Stone. Yeah. And go check out No More Rain. That's my favorite joint by her. I love her to death, and she will be missed. Peace to her family, and friends and all those who knew her. So let's get into it. There's lots of news. Zelensky and Trump. I told y'all about that last week, that you start messing around and getting into it with people, fireworks is going to happen, man. People going to bump heads. Zelensky had a blowout with Trump on live TV when there's supposed to be a peace treaty in the works and to sign a document. That's all that needed to be done. And it turned into a big blowout that everybody has seen on television and all the different news channels that report it. It was a big embarrassment to Trump and the White House for something that was supposed to go smooth play out on live TV, but because it was exposed, you can see the difficult work that it takes to bring people to the table, how to manifest something to stop all these people from dying on the Russian side and the Ukraine side. We got people that's dying here in the States that got it terrible. And so looking abroad to see what's going on only changes our perception here. There's all kinds of stuff here that needs direct attention. I could care less what's going on in Ukraine. That don't affect me at all. What affects me is this stuff over here with our people. If you get them right, then you can focus on what's going on over there. There's been billions of dollars in aid, financial aid and resources from the UN and other countries that have made this a joint venture to give them the things that they need, whether it be armor or weapons, food, shelter, all kinds of technologies that they did not have to fight the mighty Russians. You Russians, I said, because Ukraine is part of Russia. So when you see people going at war and trying to defend war, now it's coming out about what they're fighting about. And there's minerals and rare things that grow in this particular area that are used, and everybody wants hold of that. So that's what the fighting is about. There's some ethnic cleansing going on. Ethnic cleansing meaning people is getting finished. You know, they not living. Like they say on the internet, unalive. You know, some people get finished. So when you see that, it's frightening. And the young people are paying the price for the old people making the decisions. So again, that's been dominating the news. The president has also paused the financial aid to Ukraine in this war because they've been pumping money, month after month, year after year, just throwing money. And he said, hold up, we ain't just gonna keep doing this. We're gonna slow up and see how they do on their own, which is how it should have been from the jump. Nobody wants to see anybody get wiped out or bullied. However, when you have a president of a country being Zelensky saying what he wants to do as if he has a blank check, and he's not operating in the space of peace or talking about, hey, hang on, let's have a ceasefire. Let's talk about some things and where we are, because we losing over here. We losing things. Ain't nothing left to bomb. They done tore Ukraine up. It ain't too much left to save. You know, like to rebuild. You rebuilding everything. You got a place of rubble. And on the Russian side, what should have been easy, they have been taking a massive hit. And now they want to break out the real artillery. Like, hey man, we can do some things over here. But if we do that, it's going to be the jump off. So we got to fight with these conventional things, you know, until we don't. So it's a weird place to be in when you got a juggernaut and then you got a small entity, and the entity is using superpower help, and the juggernaut is like, hey, we don't want to get the bees nest going where it's too wild. So that's what's going on with that. Let's get on to the United States as things pass by. So we got big storms coming through the Midwest. There's all kind of tornado stuff in the southeast, southwest, all the way down to the Gulf of America. It's not the Gulf of Mexico. They changing the names. Up north, all the way to Canada, there's storms and snow. But there's a great big front passing through. And as it passes through, there's rain, there's wind, and there's some violent temperature changes. So just the other night, you know, you have temperatures that may have been in the 40s or 50s from the lows, and then the daytime high is like 60, 70. And that's a violent shift of 15, 20 degrees. Even animals is like, yo, man, where are we supposed to go? We flying south? We flying north? Like, what are we doing? Bugs and mosquitoes are like, hey, is it time to come out yet? What are we doing here? You confusing the animals and insects of the earth. So what you think the trees are doing in the grass is like, do we come up? Are we pollinating? What's going on here? The trees are like, do we bud? Are we in season? You know, there's all kinds of different things that you affect with the weather. And sometimes I said in the broadcast before that the weather can be controlled. That's a fact. That's not fiction. Weather can be controlled. And to go even further, some people can weaponize weather. There's people in old traditions that have used winter storms to attack others. They use the cover of the wind to move troops. They follow certain patterns. And so imagine what you could do when there's a storm and you're flying, you know, 10, 15,000 feet up over a cloud and nobody is looking up past that cloud because of the lightning and storms down below. There's all kinds of things that you can see with the human eye, and then there's radar. You know, you hear about all the planes going down and all that. wild stuff and how that's taking place. You see my hand back here? Sometimes when you look at that, you're not looking at what's right in front of you because you're back here, not here. And so that happens often with news. News can be blasted at you to the point where you're looking back here and not what's right in front of you. You need to be able to decipher what's going on and what's important. And if it's just junk, move that to the side and get to the meat and potatoes of things. Like they say in Philly, just get to the chicken. Get to the heart of the matter. You know what I'm saying? Get to the money. Let's figure out what's happening here so we can move some of the nonsense out the way. But the storms are coming. As it starts to heat up, you're going to see those things. There's nothing to be frightened of. Just keep your eyes out, because I'm sure in the days to come, those storms are going to be the news story of the day, with tornadic winds, floods, all that lightning strikes bring, and all the March weather, the madness that comes with it. There's something I wanted to speak on. There was something I saw on the news. Let me bring out that. Where is it at? Let me cut the crap. So, cut the crap. There was an officer who arrested, it was something that I saw online. There was an officer who arrested a gentleman who had drugs on him. And the drugs that he had, it might have been meth, and it was laced with fentanyl. And during the particular stop, the officer asked the gentleman to empty out his pockets, and clearly could see signs that this person had used and was a user, and needed to take the stuff off the street. And so over a few questions, he was able to finesse the gentleman to give up his drugs and pass them over. In the passing them over, the officer took hold of the confiscated things, apprehended the gentleman, and then I think at some point either let him go based on some things. I didn't really follow that part too hard. I don't think he took him in, but I do know he was cuffed for a second. So if he let him go or gave a citation, that's one thing. But they follow the officer, and you see with his body cam that he goes back to the police station. As he goes to the police station, he exits his car and goes into the station to the bathroom. You don't see the body cam after that. The next time the camera shows something, it's an officer who pulls up to the gas station, to the police station, and goes in to use the bathroom. Just happens to see the officer, the arresting officer, on the floor in a stall with the door closed, on the ground, seized up. Immediately, the officer knew that something was wrong, and there probably was something that had to do with drugs on it, probably based on smell, because the officer there probably smoked up what he confiscated. That's where this was going. He ran back to his vehicle, got the Narcan out, ran back, busted in the door, administered in his nose, and started yelling to the officer, trying to get his attention, snap him out of that fog to bring him back. While doing so, he called for help, yelled at people to come from other parts of the police station to come assist, called the fire department, etc. So everybody's bringing and administering the Narcan, tapping him on his chest, calling his name out loud, saying things to get him alert again, find his pulse, see where he is in his state, because nobody knows how long he's been on the floor. So at some point they drag him out of the stall. The fire department comes, they administer, the EMTs work on him, get a pulse, and then get him to the hospital. The next time the camera comes back on, you see him in a hospital gown in a bed with IVs tied to him, with officers around him. One looks like he's even praying, and the officers are talking about, hey, we found what he may have had in his pocket. We know some of the items that he may have either taken, digested, or if it was fentanyl, bled into him. I'm under the assumption they knew that he smoked it, because the officer who ran back to his car wouldn't have known that based on how he fell, other than he seized out. He didn't know if that was a coma. If he had bumped his head and passed out, you don't know. But clearly he knew what to do. So after all this was done, it looks like the officer smoked what the gentleman that he arrested had, and it backfired, causing him to OD. My question is this. Clearly that's not something you're supposed to do at all. What should happen to that officer? Like, what is that protocol? Like, what made you go into the bathroom with those drugs? Like, what were you doing in there? And if you get the chance and you see it online, you'll be able to see it for yourself, because this has been shown over the last couple days. I'm just seeing it, and sometimes you don't always report news first. Sometimes being first doesn't mean it's correct. Sometimes you gotta digest what you see and process it and see what it is that you're seeing. Because anybody can make an opinion. But as you analyze things, it's like, hey, like, was you supposed to do that? And if you did that, have you done that before? Is that protocol? What's the procedure of going into the police station with confiscated goods? And if it was deadly enough, if you handled it and it got through your skin, you're bringing it into an area where there's police and there's people that are using the police headquarters and making reports on whatever's going on. You're bringing it into that space, and just coming into contact with certain amounts of that is enough to finish your day. You know, where they say unalive you. They just had a case where they sentenced, I think, the lady who had the toddler who came across fentanyl. They gave her 45 years, I believe. So, again, it don't take much to do this. Michael Jackson found out. Prince and all them found out. Like, you know, fentanyl ain't no joke. And this stuff must have been laced with it heavy. Enough so that he fell backwards so hard, it looked like he was Jackie Wilson. If you don't know who Jackie Wilson is, Jackie Wilson was getting down before James Brown. So doing the back bends and things of that nature, looked like he was playing Twister by himself, the game. So that's weird to look at. You'll also see things where the fentanyl has taken over in areas like Philly and Kensington Avenue. They always show that online. They'll show it on YouTube. They show people in a zombie state, bent over, loss of control of their functions. They're almost like just frozen in time. And these drugs are so powerful, it literally freezes them into that. And a hit of that can have them in that state for quite some time. People pass out in the park, lay down, and when you drive by, it's literally zombie-like behavior. If you ever seen the movie, or because I call it a movie, but it's Michael Jackson's Thriller, it's a short film, how people are coming up out the ground and moving and walking like that, it's literally like that. So in real life, and you can imagine the uncleanliness of people who are doing that, what they're coming across, bad drugs, theft. There's people out there that are preying on others when they're in that vegetable-like state, you know, going in people's pockets and taking what they got. So it's like blocks and blocks of that. One of the things that I saw that they do that they don't speak about is that they give some of these drugs for free. There's people who come from Baltimore and Jersey and all these other areas just to get to Philly to get some of the free drugs. A lot of people can't function just like somebody that was on something, you know, they have to have a fix just to get through the day. So the dosage of what they get helps them to be normal, but in that state of mind, they want more and this and that. And so you have all these issues that come with it. It's a terrible situation, but these people are being fed and they don't show that. There's lunch, there's certain dinners that they do, or even breakfast where they can eat. And they give that away. And so people that get out there get trapped, but what they don't show is that they eat every morning. You know, they form a line just like they do in a soup kitchen. And they're given food and things of this part, and then they have to disperse for the rest of the day until they serve food again. And that's when you see the behavior of the things that they show in the park. It's a very tricky and unnecessary situation. So what is your mayors and governors doing to combat that in any city, not just Philly? What are they doing to combat these type of situations where people congregate together and clearly are doing drugs? If you've seen the videos like I have, it's like, hey, what are these people doing? Why are they like that? And why is nobody not intervening? And you've gotten numb to that. You can get numb to some craziness. There's places where they have shootouts and you might be ducking and dodging, and after a while, it's like, man, I'm not ducking no more. I'm tired of ducking and dodging. I'll just walk through this. I catch a stray. Kids got to go to school. People got to go to work. People got to get on the bus. You might have to walk through some crazy areas, and you can get used to that. You can get used to not being worried about danger. Danger would only present itself when it's close, not when it's back here. And so that's kind of what happens with these drug situations when you see people laid out on the street, and it's like, all right, well, they froze. They not dead. They moving every once in a while. Let it be. And that's a crazy thing. These mayors and governors need to have a combative plan to deal with that, to really see to the situations that are taking place. Because it is frightening. It's frightening for anybody to see that. So now let's go into some hot fire. Let's spit that dragon fire. You gotta bump heads when you make change. That's being as real as it gets. Hard work, it doesn't come easy. Last week, I told y'all that Trump is putting his hands in different things and bothering other countries and talking this and that. And now it's about to get live. It's going to be live. Being live means friction. Friction meaning press. Press meaning you getting ready to get into some situations that you might not get out of. That's when it's all the way live. All the way live is meaning you about to get tested. And the test don't stop. So, again, I told y'all about the weather. I told y'all last podcast. The weather's about to get funky. It's about to get wild. We in March. March brings all kinds of madness. There's friction. There's uncertainties. There's unstable air. So you know what's getting ready to happen. It's all the way live. It's about to get live. It's about to be some stuff that you got to pay attention to. The oceans are getting hot. Anytime the oceans get warm, you got hurricanes. It's hurricane season. It's going to be storms that pound the Midwest because the storms move north if they come from the Gulf. If they come from the east, they're going to go up the coast all the way to Maine. You'll start to see things bombarded. When that happens, that's that hot fire. We spitting that
dragon fire.
I need y'all to be aware. I don't want nothing to go past you and you just miss it. Let's get to the situation and cut the crap. Oh, yeah. So, you're seeing people that know all the songs by Kendrick. They not like us, but do you know who doesn't look like you that is making the decisions on things that need help and assistance? So when we talked about the mayors, we talked about the governors helping people that are in need, that are on the street, that need care. Everybody was going crazy when we had the so-called illegals here and taking up all the space and resources. Let's have that same energy to deal with our people in our country, the Americans, the people, the citizens who live here and that need care, that need help. Let's have that same energy. Let's have the same programs to assist them. Then we can deal with people abroad. Then we can deal with Zelensky in the situation. You got billions of dollars and you don't have nothing to show for it but rubble. You don't have anything to show for it but tough talk. It's about to get live. It's all the way live. So when you see these things, it's March Madness. It's about to get live. There's going to be millions of dollars spent on these brackets, on the tournament brackets. There's going to be commercials that are funny, just like they have in the Super Bowl. And none of those dollars are spent on the people who need help, who need the March Madness dollars to do things. When you take care of them, then you can go back to the entertainment and the games. That's a game. You got people out here, man, that's serious with this. And if it's not fixed, countries can implode. When you worry about who's going to invade you, the greatest civilizations ever didn't get attacked. They imploded from within. Remember that. They imploded from within, from leadership, quarrels, infighting, trying to strong-arm ways with other groups. Inside, they held the borders fine, but they internally failed. When you see unraveling like that, you must address it and deal with it. Make sure that our leaders have all that they need. And if they don't, then you straighten them out. How do you straighten out the people who don't listen? You get together with some like-minded folks. And when you get with like-minded people, you try to get your ideas across to people who might not understand what they don't see. Because there's some people in Washington that don't know what goes on out here. They're in Washington. There's some people outside of Washington that don't know what goes on in Washington. And so you have two opposing views of what's taking place, but everybody's trying to do the right thing. And sometimes when you do the right thing, you have to do hard work. And you bump heads like Zelensky and Trump did on live TV. And it ain't easy. It's not easy at all. I heard Trump was cutting the funds off for Ukraine. And it's like, hey, you're not going to do things on our dime. We're going to hold up on the resources and see how you fare before you start signing stuff and we jump in all with the things that we have. The same should be said for the people out here that are dealing with the drug issues, the trank and the fetty, because the trank is even worse than the fentanyl. You got people taking horse tranquilizers going crazy and zoned out for a day at a time. You take a hit of that and it's a wrap. And people going into your pockets. So we need people to address those situations because that's overtaking the nation. You're seeing people trying to get high to escape from madness. And it's March Madness. There's a reason for the name. It ain't got nothing to do with who. The weather gets funny. The animals get funny. The insects get funny. The water gets funny. The people that migrate on the ground get funny. There's things that align in the stars and skies that get funny that you start seeing that you didn't see in the winter that you're seeing now. The madness comes in all kind of ways, and you have to be aware of it. The violent weather shifts. You know, just the other day it was 20. Now it's going to be 70. That's violent. And to the insects of the earth, they're like, man, do we come up? Do we stay? We flying around? You know, we biting people? What we doing today? The grass is like, do we let our shoots go? Is it time? Is it not time? The animals are like, hey, am I supposed to be flying south for the winter? I thought I was in the south. It was warm. Now it's cold. You know, like, what am I supposed to eat? The trees, are we budding or are we icing over from getting rained on and then it's a hard freeze and it breaks? A tree has to protect itself. There's lots of things that take place that are not just man-made. There's all kinds of creature-like things that take place. And in the sea and in the oceans, you can imagine the animals there. And like, what's going on? What's going on the surface? You know, there's all kinds of things that are taking place. So again, I've sparked your brain with a lot. Now let me hit you with the antidote before I go too far. Meaning I don't want to go too far. I want you to know that there's help. Help means there's understanding, knowing what's going on in your surroundings and being aware, talking to like-minded people so that you don't frighten yourself. But you have to be able to identify what's coming. Danger is always present. knowing where the danger is the antidote to say, oh, I'm not going over there. That's where the snake's at. We go over here. I know there's danger there. If I go this way, I'm good. So being able to identify what's taking place will always help you, no matter what subject I just brought up. So for the people that are strung out, that's on fentanyl and this and that, don't go that way. Find your mayor, find your governor. Get on them and say, hey, let's deal with this. Let's send the resources there so we can deal with that. Let's deal with that. Let's talk to that. If you're talking about Trump and all of them on the national stage, it's like, hey man, we've sent everybody we need to Washington. If you don't listen to the people, we're gonna put you out of power, and we might have to turn up in the streets. And turn up means we need to have our voices heard and let other people see us and how we feel on the ground. There's other countries who don't know what Americans look like. They only see the president. And sometimes they see him as a cowboy because you get to talking wild. It's just like a Wild West movie. And that's how they think of Americans. They're like, y'all wild over there. Y'all got guns. Y'all shooting people. Drive-bys. That's what you do in the Western. There's other countries that are like, man, we ain't had nothing to eat. So, we ain't got time to be entertaining that. We on a mission. So our situation is far different from what you're dealing with. Zelensky was talking like that in the press conference. He was like, hey man, y'all got it made over here. Y'all ain't got to deal with what we dealing with in our front yard. They ain't playing and they not honoring ceasefires. When you tell them to stop, they're like, all right, psych, and then they get it on. And it's like, man, we don't want to get caught in that situation. Y'all don't have to deal with that, but we do. And so everybody has different means, but you have to draw light to the attention of what you need to highlight. And that's all I want to get to. So without being too long-winded, going too crazy, before I go, this is MO5000x7. This is a safe place where we can talk about everything. Put your comments in the comments section so we can talk about it all. We can really get in depth. I like to have some people on so we can really chop it up and hear some other voices and see some of the concerns, men, women, and youngsters. Because there's all kinds of people watching what we do here in other countries, not just here in the U.S. We all over, kids. If you want to check out my daughter Clever and the good music, check out MotherNatureBars.com. Mother Nature Bars with a Z. By all means, you can check them out. If you want to donate to the channel, again, it's Mother Nature on Cash App, $ Mo, M-O-N, the number 8TR. Always send something and we can always put it to use. And that's what we're going to do here. And before the buzzer sounds, I just want to say we are in March now. And we got a lot of days to deal with. March Madness, St. Patrick's Day, the weather, because the weather is going to be the story no matter what. Any future situations that should approach. So with that being said, let's keep our eyes open. Until next time, that's what's up.